I'm an old pirate. I'm an ancient pirate. If you have any questions for me, an ancient pirate.
If
Shoot,
you,
shoot,
let's say you
John.
had to randomly be reincarnated at some point in the past as a random person, and you can either do totally random, and it could literally be anyone, or you could lock in, it will be a pirate. Would you go
Well, since I
random?
have,
Would you go
since I,
pirate?
since I have so much extensive experience as a pirate,
Well, you'll
John.
grow up and become a pirate. Like, you'll learn piracy, but you can be a pirate or you can be anything
I'd,
random.
I, I'd roll the dice, man.
You
I've
roll the
been a
dice.
pirate. That's
You
the
could
most pirate thing you could do is roll the dice for a piece of 8 and some grog.
see, sir, you chose wrong, because if you lock into pirate, you at least get to be pirating age. You could die at 8.
Grass is
2.
green. Grass is always greener. John.
1.
Total grass. You're a total grass hole. You're acting like a real grass hole. That's what we call them.
Chuck Grasshole. I'm
Truth
sure
about Chuck Grassley. He's an ancient pirate.
it's good to have. If you found out that he had spent a couple of years as a pirate, I'd accept it.
The other day, my
I have a
wife
headache.
says, "What did you say?" This is a Chuck Grassley impression. The other day, my wife says, "What was that, Chuck?" And I said, "What are you talking about? All I did was drop some nuts and bolts into the garbage disposal." It's the same sound as my voice. My wife's a hottie. Ooh.
Yeah, I have a headache already. That's a good sign, right?
Sure, you should hydrate, John.
I'm drinking coffee. A lot of it isn't that the thing?
Drink some rum.
It's
I thought you were
decaf,
off
but-
coffee, buddy.
I've been back on to 1 cup for a week. The rest is decaf.
Holy farts. Per day, per week, or just 1 per week?
If you had to guess,
Per day, per week.
if I had had 1 cup of coffee this week, would I be mentioning it every day? One.
I just say I was. You know what, John? I was just fantasizing. I was just
I'm being-
fantasizing about a world where John's like, "Ugh, I gotta keep up with Brett today."
I'm being hounded by a pirate. Okay, what are we talking about today? You've seen the rundown, right?
Yeah, I don't.
Okay,
I don't
good.
read it. I don't read nothing,
great.
John.
Good.
Let me look. God.
Okay, well,
God.
you know, people really like Gary Chambers yesterday, so you better bring your
Mhm.
bring your A game, or at least some sort of game.
All right. I'll take your advice. I'll bring a game.
I did. I've got several. What time is it? Oh my god, it's already 10:02. I should look at
You're
that from time to time.
You're 10 or 10:02.
Really fast before we go in. So yesterday, you know, I was going to be on the game night. And so in the middle of the day, I'm finally done with everything. It was this crazy amount of interviews and tech tests and all this stuff. So I finally go out to do some errands, and I need to buy a pitcher at Target and a couple other things. So I go to Target, and I'm walking around, and it's in the middle of the afternoon, and I suddenly think, wait, what time am I supposed to be on game night? And I quickly scrolled to my Twitter, where I remembered there was like a graphic announcing it. And I saw the graphic, and it said 8 p.m. Eastern time, 5 p.m. Pacific time. And I looked, and it was like 4:27, and I'm in the middle of a Target holding a couple items, and I bolt for the door because I know I have to, my wife wants me to pick her up an Impossible Burger on the way home. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to make it. And so I rush home. I get stuck in Burger King behind a guy that was literally, I think he was recording a podcast with the Burger King guy about food. It took so long. I race home going so fast. I throw the burger at her. I turn on all the lights in the camera. I sit down. And then you guys aren't trying to call me. And I'm like, it's minutes. I rushed and you guys are going to start late. And then I realize the graphic I had seen was announcing the time for movie night tomorrow. Game night's later.
Game night, you got another hour.
I never
buddy.
got my pitcher. I raced out of that Target for nothing.
And
and
you
I
threw
almost
all
killed
your
a man at
Target
Burger
items
King.
at a poor defenseless shopper for nothing.
Exactly. No, I still
See,
checked out. I had a bag of
I don't
gummy
know why
sharks.
I was so animated by needing to get home. I just started assaulting people.
Yeah. By the way, game night was awesome. It was very fun. We got to do that more often. It should be every 2 weeks. You know, I'm not going to be able to do it every time, but it should be every 2 weeks.
Thanks, John,
It's
for
a lot of fun.
foisting responsibilities on others.
Okay.
Oh, John, I'm very excited about tonight after Common Room.
Yeah, because then you're done.
No, then I get to watch Artesian Builds build us a new computer.
What?
At twitch.tv/Artesian Builds.
You literally, they stream them making your computer?
Yes.
Okay.
I am so excited.
Okay, I've made a lot of computers, but I would
excited.
not want to stream it because there's a lot of dropping screws below motherboards and stuff. Wow, that's exciting. I'm going to watch.
But they're pros, yeah. So
is it
twitch.tv/Artesian Builds.
Is it Chris Hemsworth who builds it?
An interesting misremembering of certain
Is that
Bible
not what it
trends.
was? What was it?
It's Henry Cavill. You
Same thing. Is there honestly a difference?
Thor. No, you're right. Space God.
There are Hemsworths who would have gotten that wrong.
Mm-hmm. It's a total Liam Hemsworth thing. It's the total Westworld Hemsworth you pulled just now, John.
Jeez. Okay, well, this has been fun, but we should probably eventually do the show. We've literally never waited until 3,000 viewers. Apologies to everyone. Let's do this thing. Yay, hey. Leroy Damage Report. Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode here at the Damage Report! It's still quarantined, but at least it's Friday. And that means a few things. It means tomorrow's Saturday, but it also means that we've got the host of the Happy Half Hour. Brett Erlich, how's it going?
Oh, good. I'm good. I'm really excited about today's show. I'm not excited about when you framed me. I was leaned back in my chair in a very resigned to the universe posture. So I was waiting until you had like a good, like me set before me. No, go to the 2 shot so I can like still respect your concepts. All right.
Thank you.
And again, as I told John, we got to stop wearing the same color shirt because it, again, looks like the 2-person.
Bink. That's not even, no.
Back
no,
5.
The other.
Back 5.
Bink.
Too proud. I'm too proud to change.
You're too proud, yeah. There's an awesome piece of fan art that I got to put on Instagram of us wearing the same shirt. But anyway, very glad to have you on. Who do we have on the Happy Half Hour later on today?
Craig Lowry will be joining us for a Happy Half Hour that happened against all odds. We had a lot of technical issues that did not resolve themselves until like 40 minutes after we were supposed to start. But we did put together a full episode for you with Craig Lowry. So today, what you have to do as people is to watch the conversation. No, I don't think there's one today. So watch the main show, post game, Happy Half Hour, and then after that is Common Room at 6 p.m. with myself, my wife, the Brookmarks. Also, J.R. Jackson will be joining us. And in addition to that, former TYT intern Adriana Vega It'll be great.
On the Common Room?
On the Common Room.
Wow, what a throwback. That's awesome.
She didn't want to do it because she broke up with her boyfriend or something. And she's like, he's moving out.
That's what you need Common Room for.
I was like, my dad died 20 years ago today. I'm going to be weird. You'll enjoy that, everybody. Just watch Brett try to keep it together. And so we'll be messes on the Common Room.
Exactly.
Maybe there will be some existential talk. And then afterwards, we're going to host on Twitch, twitch.tv/Artesian Builds. That's who we're going to host. Artesian Builds putting together a computer to replace the one I had that got fried in a power surge.
Wow.
So you get to watch them put it together, which will be very cool, just like Henry Cavill putting together his computer.
Awesome.
And you also in the about section of Twitch right now is a code so you can get a discount on your build yourself. They have PCs starting at $654.
Awesome. Cool. And that'll be used. Oh, get a surge protector, by the way. That'll be awesome.
I have one from the office. It did nothing.
Oh, okay. By the way, for everyone watching this, if you've thought about becoming an intern here at TYT, understand that if you do, we will never allow you to fully leave. You'll come back for shows. Dan Evans was on TDR recently. Our intern Sophie is now a producer on the show after being away at school and everything. Once we have you, we never quit you.
Yeah, and we
Anyway,
make you do all kinds of weird stuff if you agree to it, which, like
Exactly.
Alyssa Bernardino, our current intern, was on the show as well.
Exactly. That's awesome. Okay, we got lots of news that we're going to get to. There's way too much, but we're going to try. I did want to quickly announce before we launch into our other stories that in a week of lots of progressives winning awesome races, including Cori Bush and Rashida won re-election, Ilhan's about to, we also have Marquita Bradshaw, who won her Tennessee Democratic Senate primary race. She's an environmentalist endorsed by the DSA. And here's what's so amazing about it. She beat the sort of DSCC-backed candidate James Mackler, who raised about $2.1 million. That was the DSCC candidate. Do you know how much she raised? From the research that's been done, $8,000. And she beat the multi-million-dollar candidacy. That's awesome. And so I want to thank Jessica Chastain for messaging me about the win and letting me know about that. We'd had a super chat earlier this week telling us to watch out for Marquita Bradshaw's race. And boom. Amazing.
And John didn't believe, but I believed.
I did not believe.
John, it seems like John's admitting to not believing. I haven't admitted to
I
that.
don't think that's true. Okay, so because this is looking like it's going to be an 1.5 hour long show, we better get into it. In a presidential race that is already being framed around mental competence and how much you've got it together mentally, Trump appears to be having a little bit of trouble in some of his recent speeches. Let's start off with the lightest example of this. Here is one of his weird Twitter quirks suddenly turning into a speech thing.
On the question of foreign trade, previous leaders were guided by a shameful policy of capitulation, submission, and retreat. For decades, you watched as politicians let foreign nations steal our jobs, loot our factories, and plunder the crown jewels of the U.S. economy. And the word plunder is capitalized.
Like in the speech, was it capitalized? Or are you saying like historically, metaphorically, it's capitalized? Like I know you capitalize stuff randomly. Does he think that that's like a physical constant of the universe?
That's worse than when people go air quotes or slash. Like, what are you doing? No, your line read was perfect. I could tell in your delivery that it was capitalized.
Yeah, and plundering. That's how you auditorily capitalize something. You don't... But I wish I could know.
And
if
also
he's just saying that, or was it literally capitalized? And then he read it capitalized, like the classic Hercules disappointed line where like he reveals things about the script you're not supposed to.
I mean, there's so much to just dive in, like dig around and speculate about, but it's very probable to me that his speechwriters have started reflecting his strange German noun capitalization. I guess that's a participle, but like his weird pronunciation in his speech writing, and when he sees it, he just reveals what an idiot he is, where he's like, oh, when I write that something with a capital letter, people know it's emphasized, but I want you to know. And also his reading voice is so boring that
it's gotten more boring, I would say, in the past like 6 months or so, past few months.
How mad are white nationalists about the fact that behind him it's in like French and like Spanish?
Yeah, he shouldn't abide by that. Okay, so we do have more though, because it's not just the plundering. That's like a weird quirk. But now we just have things that people are struggling to understand what actually happened here. Here's an example.
Shifting production to Thailand and to Vietnam. Thailand and Vietnam, two places that I like their leaders very much. They're very nice to us. Do they take advantage of the United States?
I like their leaders. Their leaders are thick and juicy.
Dark meat of leaders, really.
So,
as opposed to the breast meat of leaders like you have in other countries.
Oh my God. So he just read it like he has no idea what the speech is about or what it says, and so he's reading it for the first time, and without that ability, that weird thing that I've mentioned multiple times, I think is kind of a skill of mine, where I can generally just launch into a graphic without knowing what's on it and read words ahead so that it makes sense. He can't
Weirdest
read.
Flex John
I know it's the weirdest.
Not the first time he said it. It's just the
I
strangest.
acknowledge that. I acknowledge
Nerdiest
that.
flex.
I acknowledge that. Anyway,
I can cold read graphics, not to
I
brag.
can. My cold read, pretty hot. Anyway, he can't do that even halfway through a word. He can't preview visually.
He dude, and the best part is he's like, oh, Vietnam, got it. That was Thailand. That was Thailand. I'm
Yeah.
gonna go back. Did you see the Dinesh D'Souza's response to all that?
He tried to explain how right Trump was, as if Trump hadn't already corrected himself seconds later.
D'Souza full on Kevin Costner bodyguards himself, like, no!
Yeah.
In front of Trump.
The jumping in front of the bullet. Yeah, The
And
Simpsons has
best
a great.
part, like, the best, he's like, well, colonially, I don't know, I didn't read it, but JR mentioned it in the morning meeting. Apparently he goes like, colonially, that was how the colonists, the British imperialists pronounced it. And Asher, who lived in Thailand, goes, Thailand was never colonized.
But okay, so two amazing things there. One, I never knew that Asher lived in Thailand. Thailand. That's awesome. The second is, even if that was right, and apparently it's not true, I'm not an expert, even if it was right, that's not what Trump was doing. Trump made a mistake and fixed it.
Actually, in Shakespeare, Don Juan is pronounced Don Juan, therefore Thailand. Nope.
Well, that wasn't the only geographical little flub that he had recently. Here's a fun one.
When they gaze upon Yosemite's towering sequoias,
He got sequoias.
Yo, Semites, I'm pro-Israel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Welcome to Trump's, like, Sammy Davis Jr., like, urban Jewish crossover bit, Yosemites. Reaching to the young black Jewish youth.
Jesus. Yeah, it's the same exact thing. He doesn't prepare. He doesn't have any sort of, I don't know what the term would be, some sort of script reading court vision. Like, he doesn't have any of that. And the thing is, like, when you combine it with the plunder and the boring read, it's that I don't think he was doing a ton of this before. There were all sorts of weird things about his scripts before, his speeches before. But now it seems like he's got senioritis. Like, he's just sort of like mailing it in at this point.
He doesn't do homework, and it's so infuriating. I saw a great tweet the other day about, like, why we shouldn't send kids back to school. It's very obvious that Trump never learned a single thing in school. So you could be president someday if you skip 8th.
Exactly. Okay, but look, that's the fun stuff. There was, a little bit more serious stuff recently in speeches. Donald Trump has decided to pivot on Joe Biden and the campaign to religion and guns, and here's how he expressed that sort of standard Republican narrative.
because he's going to double and triple your taxes. He's going to do things that nobody ever would ever think even possible, because he's following the radical left agenda. Take away your guns, destroy your Second Amendment, no religion, no anything, hurt the Bible, hurt God. He's against God, he's against guns, he's against energy, our kind of energy. And I was in Texas the other day. I said, wait a minute, the other side is against guns, they're against oil and gas, they're against religion, Bible, God. How's he going to win Texas?
Guns,
inside his
gas,
mind is
Bible.
Inside his mind is like Charlie in the sunny, like, he's got a bunch of, like, God,
we just referenced
Bible,
that on Monday.
it's just like, here's where it goes.
Pepe
This
Sylvia.
is it. You got the Bible and the guns.
Yeah. He's against Lamp. And I know it's so, like, to people who aren't dwelling in all of that, it's so weird that you can just throw out all of these seemingly disconnected nouns: gas, guns, God. It's like, wait, why are those things tied? Why is being for God mean that you have to, like, lust constantly over guns? What does that have to do with anything? But he gets his audience. I think that was in Texas. But he's going to hurt God. No religion. That Joe Biden is going to ban religion in America? That's obviously insane. It doesn't need to be said that it's insane. But is that convincing anyone? Is that effective? Is that going to swing some people to supporting Trump rather than Biden?
Well, especially, no. I mean, yes, here's why. Because there is a traditional sort of winning formula for Republicans when they run, and it is that they don't do it that explicitly. They do a version of that. They start with a bulletin board that says God, guns, Battlestar Galactica. And it's all these related things that are part of the platform, and they just message relentlessly at it.
Yeah.
And I would say if you had to make a choice, ideally you would just message effectively in a coherent way. But
ideally,
if I take a step back and similar to how before the show, no one heard this, but you asked me if I'd rather be a pirate reincarnated or something random. If I had to choose between these two worlds where I either message in complete sentences that aren't really connected or affected,
yeah,
or I just message in a word cloud vomit of Republican talking point categories, I would rather my candidate message in a word vomit talking point category cloud.
Yeah.
And that's what Trump does. And when he's reading his stupid speeches and not caring about it, he is interpreting these messages the way most people interpret political speeches, just like blah, 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 nothing. But when he takes a step back and just goes, Biden's after your guns, getting back to the original question you asked, if he is messaging that way and not making people think COVID, failure, disinfectant, death, and now Dilbert is what Peter Navarro wants you to pay attention to, the Dilbert guy, his medical advice, then
yeah, maybe.
Then that's how they can try to get back on track and win.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I get that, and I'm glad that you mentioned that, because there was, I forget exactly what the attempted pivot was a few weeks ago, but it was pretty clear that's what it was, and we have to be aware of that. I don't think that we at TYT are likely to forget that there's a pandemic and an economic collapse, but the media is always looking for drama, and a race which is month after month Biden looks maybe inevitable is boring. And so, yeah, we do have to be aware of that possibility. Now, I do want to give Biden a chance to respond, because he's being declared by Trump to be, I would assume, the most viciously aggressive anti-religion politician America's ever seen, which seems like a stretch. Biden, who was the country's first Catholic vice president and would be the first Catholic president in more than half a century, has been motivated by his faith throughout his long career in politics. Biden almost always has rosary beads in his pocket and frequently holds them in his hand, including while he monitored the raid that killed Osama bin Laden in 2011. Now, we can take issue with whether that makes sense, but he was doing it. He has written and spoken at length about how faith helped him grieve the loss of his first wife and daughter many years ago, and his son Beau more recently. He said he called Trump's attack shameful, saying that his faith is the bedrock foundation of his life. Now, look, I think America needs far more totally secular politicians, but you can't say that Biden's not religious.
Oh, yeah. In a recent ad from the Trump campaign, they pulled together a bunch of photos to make it look like Biden was doing nothing and like sitting and cowering in a basement, when in one situation you can like see someone else's knee like in the photo. But one of the photos that they took was supposed to be Biden tired on a chair, when in reality he was praying at a church. Like, that was the photo taken. And so if I have to get through to, I mean, the problem is he's Catholic, to be honest, because there is this weird like Catholic Christian divide that Kennedy, if you say like he would be the first Catholic in over a half century, like Kennedy, I believe, was the last Catholic president, first and most recent Catholic president. It is not like cut and dry that the Christians would go along with that.
Yeah.
Like the other Christians would go along with that. But come on, you're not going to, you can't convince people of a couple things. You can't convince people that Biden is against working class Americans. You just can't, especially in Michigan, where he quotes, save the auto industry. And these are messaging things, not like reality.
Yeah.
You can't convince him of that. You can't convince him that he ain't working class Joe. You can't convince people that Joe Biden isn't religious. Like, he just is.
Yeah.
He's a good old Catholic boy from Scranton.
Yeah, I think that, look, I think in theory you could convince them that what Biden would actually do for working class Americans isn't what they need if you were to run against him from the left, but Trump obviously isn't going to do that, and if he tries to, it's going to be a complete sham.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just need 3 debates of Biden like he was in the last debate with Bernie.
Mm-hmm. To just sort of hold the line, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Look, we're going to have a lot more on Biden, including, like, that was weird stuff about Biden that doesn't seem fair. We have another thing where it's like, God, he's really doing some own goals here. So we'll have that for you shortly. But before we get into that, I did want to respond to a few of the super chats and all that. By the way, if you're watching the stream, please hit the like button on the stream, because apparently that's still important. I did want to let you know, because Craig, who's going to be on Happy Half Hour, put it into the document, that on the subreddit Black People Twitter, Jer Jackson's Steve Mnuchin tweet is apparently blowing up with 6.4 thousand upvotes. I don't know if I've ever had one that successful, so go JR and feel free to head there and give him a little thumbs up as well. Let's see, Kai Allen sent us a super chat saying, hey, Abbott and Costello, what are both of your main methods of self-care, healthy coping skills during these hellish times?
I'm drunk right now. What?
That doesn't hurt. I'm a little bit hungover right now. I have been trying to just do creative work. I've been writing. I actually made a mod of a board game for Tabletop Simulator recently. I've been messing around in Photoshop a lot, just doing like fun creative stuff that doesn't have to do with politics, basically. Rob Shively suggests, because we've been going through superheroes for each person on the show, Brett is Ant-Man, goofy at all times, yet entirely necessary to make the whole thing work. He also has Paul Rudd Forever Young face. Nice.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Melissa L says, Friday with John and Brett. This is my favorite show. I love how honestly you report the news. Trump is a douche. Matt Gaetz is a tool. Love you guys. Thank you.
I'm handsome. Thank you.
Max Moras. That was not that comment. That was another. Max
Sounds like
Moraski
everyone's
says,
kind of saying I'm handsome.
Sent us a Leroy in damage report.
That was a good one.
Thank you. Etherian says, can I have some sort of freedom from faux Christians trying to force me into Christianity, please? According to the Constitution, you do. We'll see. Andrea Hart says, good day, John and Brett. Do you believe if Trump supporters, Trump and staff, were shown World of Warcraft's corrupted blood incident, would they then understand how we must quarantine? That's funny.
Yeah, that's it. That's all it would take. No, that's it. Correct.
I don't think it would help. Kenny from Philly says Captain America teams up with Deadpool. That's funny, if you get what he's saying there. Nikki Dearest Go-Go says, Trump, Biden is against person, woman, man, camera, and TV.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are the best. TDR always makes my day. Thank you. It's very nice of you.
Obi Mom Kenobi cheered 1,000 bits saying, game night was the awesomest, so I'm going to support y'all a bit extra today. Much love. She also gave out 10 tier 1 subs because she's the greatest and everyone's mom and Lord Protector of the realm. 310.
And Pinker Bell Pixie also has gifted several of those tier 1 subs. So definitely thank you for that. More to read, but also far more to discuss. So let's launch into another topic. Make sure that I do. What do you know? Larry Kudlow is obviously incredibly important in terms of advising Donald Trump on the economy. And that advice is incredibly important right now because we're in a very rocky time indeed in terms of employment and the need for stimulus. So the issue with him having that position is that he is frequently wrong and doesn't seem to learn from his mistakes. So I want to show you a video that was put together by The Recount that shows Larry Kudlow talking about the coronavirus pandemic at the very beginning of it, and how first you're going to see him opining on what he had said, and then you're going to see the actual comments. So let's take a look at that mashup.
I was asked again on February 25th. I said we were airtight. On February 25th, there were fewer than 20 cases. I didn't say we will be. I didn't say it was a forecast. I just said at this point, there were fewer than 20 cases. We have contained this. I won't say airtight, but pretty close to airtight.
Okay, so I didn't say that it wouldn't get out of... No, but that's what airtight means, is that it won't get out. Obviously, there weren't a lot of cases then. The fear is that it would spread, and you were saying airtight.
Wait, weren't his words? I'm not going to say airtight, but it is as
pretty
tight
close to airtight
as you can be, not letting air in or out. I'm not going to say airtight.
Mm-hmm.
Also, my corners of my face are melting.
Exactly. And so, look, I introed this story with the economy. So why? I mean, there he's just talking about the pandemic. It's because this messaging was not just deceptive in terms of giving people a false sense of security on the eve of a pandemic, but also was clearly designed to benefit the market, to stop people from panicking and all of that, which I sort of get the impulse for that. But if it is going to ravage our country, and if that is going to hurt the economy, then don't we kind of need to know that?
Yes, but that's not his job. So here's the thing that Larry Kudlow does understand is for all the talk about how awesome America's economy is and how Gordon Gekko, everybody on Wall Street is when greed is good. They are little skittish cockroach wimps. And any crack of light from the outside world of reality that makes its way into the rooms on the trading floors scares the hell out of him. And it is his job to throw his body up against that door and hold it and not let reality in so that they all can know two things. One, it's not that bad. The only reason anything could shut down is because we're going to make sure that it all goes away. But also, even if it does shut down, while we will quibble and fight and claw not to give Americans like $120 extra a week, we will not blink twice. We will not think twice about or bat an eye about giving a bajillion dollars to those Wall Street cockroaches.
Because that's the part of the economy we actually care about. Yeah. So the comments we showed you were from the 25th, I believe it was, of February. So what was he saying on the 28th when he headed to CPAC? Well, here is what he had to say. And again, these are very clear predictions, not just about what is happening, like a description. These are predictions of what's going to happen.
Since I believe, and Ivanka believes, that the country is in good, safe hands right now, you might think about buying the dip. I
think we all know who the dip is. Oh!
John,
let me
take it back.
Segue and switch gears just a little bit. Virus is not going to sink the American economy.
Where
what is or could sink the American economy is the socialism coming from our friends on the other side of the aisle. That's the biggest fear that I have.
Turns out he should have had some other fears. And indeed, socialism killed about 40 million jobs and 160,000 people. Oh, wait, no, that was something else. Those were very clear predictions with a call to action. It's not going to hurt the economy. You should buy the dip. You should be investing now. That's what he was telling people on the 28th of February.
Oh, well, I do think that by and large, people should buy the dip. I think that's the right thing.
Yes, assuming that is the bottom of the dip. Hypothetically, if it falls down a lot more, that could be bad advice. But I get what you're saying.
Right, but talking to a room full of capitalists who are, using funds. Anyways, but yeah, he's an idiot. He needs, all he's missing is like pom-poms in a ghost state. Mm-hmm. Like, sure. And then also like socialism, like what is he talking about? What socialist instincts are we speaking of? Bernie Sanders has a proposal to institute a wealth tax, saying that of people who did buy the dip, what they recouped since then. And I think the whole reason for the bill is just to show people how little it would take to fund stuff.
Yeah.
And if you just tax the people with these huge gains since the dip, that's all the money you need for these scary social programs.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's very frustrating. And then also to say, like, these socialists, Trump is asking for a portion of the sale of TikTok. I am fine personally in weird capitalist ways of like for him telling China like, oh, you're going to keep our companies out of your state. Well, then we're going to keep your companies out of my state. That's fine. But then to say that I, the government, want a cut of a sale of a private business and then at the same time say that like these socialist big government tax dollar initiatives are so crazy and invasive to the capitalist process. That is utter hypocrisy right there in that tiny little bottle.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, the idea that social, and it's CPAC. You just say socialism.
Yeah.
It's an applause line. That's all. You don't need to know what it is. The audience certainly doesn't. And the issue is, look, it's one thing to show, here is how wrong Larry Kudlow has been. And just recently, we're not even going back, years and all of the terrible predictions that you are allowed to get fundamentally wrong in a way that is hurtful, incredibly hurtful to the economy, people's lives, all of that. It doesn't matter in DC. You're going to be just fine. It's that he continues to be wrong. And so Larry Kudlow recently, the reason we're talking about him is that he and Steve Mnuchin and Navarro, they are like the three head guys on the people don't deserve enhanced unemployment benefits anymore because it's going to stop them from going back to work. And they will keep saying that regardless of how many studies come out that it isn't true. Now, thankfully, Poppy Harlow was interviewing Larry Kudlow, and she actually called him out on this particular thing as he continued to advance that false narrative.
I think it's a disincentive for people to go back to work. What evidence do you have?
Well, look, what evidence?
Yeah.
I mean, the University of Chicago said 2/3 of the people now have higher unemployment benefits than their wage. Another piece
But Larry,
of evidence
the University of Chicago survey doesn't conclude what you're arguing. I talked to the author of the study last night,
I would love to finish
and he told
my
me,
sentence.
but their study doesn't conclude that. I talked to one of the economists who wrote the study last night, and he said to me, that's a mistake. It's a mistake to draw the conclusion, as you have been in the White House has been, that right now it's a disincentive to go back to work. It tells you about the dollars. It doesn't tell you what the dollars do. And the Yale study said exactly the same thing.
Well, look, whoever that chap is, he or she
his name is Professor
Chap.
Peter Gagnon. And I think you've read the study, right?
Well, I've seen the.
Okay, well, damn, right there he says, I've seen the work. That means he hasn't read the study, and he doesn't know who did it, and he doesn't really care because he's just making sort of loose. He believes he can just say, there's a study, and it agrees with me, even though it doesn't. It shows that some people are making more. It does not conclude that that is affecting their behavior in the way they're saying. And he keeps pointing to the fact that it shows that they have the money and just assuming, oh, so everything else I say must be true. It's not. And that is potentially affecting the Senate negotiations that are going on right now. It might potentially affect the actual money that will end up going to countless millions of workers, potentially for months. This is one of the most important things that needs to be clear, that people need to be to understand at this point. And he's doing everything he can to convince people of something that's untrue for a very easy to understand reason. They don't want people getting the money. They think of it as their money, not taxpayer dollars that all these workers have paid in and now will be drawing from. They think of it as theirs. And they don't like the idea, philosophically, fundamentally, ideologically, they don't like the idea of workers making more money. They just don't.
Yeah, yes. Implied in his argument is, well, implied in the study from Yale is that he won that instinct that he thinks that he wants all Americans to have, which is, I don't want to sit there and suck off the government teat. I want to work and earn my money. That is accurate. That portrayal of the American worker is accurate according to the Yale study that says people are not, by and large, those who are receiving more in unemployment benefits, the Yale study says, are not staying home when facing the opportunity to work. That's true. And also implied in his model is that I think he thinks that any general economic conclusion that they teach you in economics class will hold and should hold. It should be that we should set up incentives so people go and contribute to the economy versus taking from the economy. But if he's worried about weird incentives, he should look at the other side of the equation, not the worker who is going to get $100 extra a week, but rather the speculators in the capital markets who are using every opportunity to make these crazy bets, and when they lose, they get bailed out. Mm-hmm. They get bailed out. And so what we should look back and say is, like, why we are only incentivizing the Wall Street speculators to go out there and fail, because they're the ones who are going to get bailed out by the government. Instead, he wants to as they always do, blame it on working class Americans who he has no studies proving that they're doing what he says they're doing.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and it's just like last week, I think it was my garbage person of the week was basically our government for going on this long recess without actually coming to a deal, and then coming back Monday at 2 and saying, oh no, we're surely going to have one now, and look, there's a lot of pressure to get something done, so by Friday, definitely. No, they just went on another long vacation.
Yeah, Trump went to Virginia or went to some 3-day golf excursion.
They're gone. Still garbage. They're not going to be my garbage person this week, but they're still garbage.
And not just that, like also when, last point is like when Kudlow says, I haven't seen the work. I've seen the work. And also Hassett, the other economic advisor, is like, I haven't played with the numbers. It's all a game to them.
Yeah.
They're just like, I'm going to sit around and toy with this stuff. They don't take it seriously.
Yeah, they don't.
Very frustrating.
They don't. By the way, I'm getting a notice from Craig that JR is now at 10,000 upvotes. I'm assuming that was all of you. Thank you.
You're in it.
Susan Chenoweth, probably related to the other Chenoweth, wants to know, is there a recording of last night's game night? I had a meeting, even though I would have had much preferred to be there with all of you. Thank you for all you do.
Yep, there is. It's in our videos on Twitch. I don't know. The bookmarks will tell you immediately. And then also socially distanced, I cheered 500 bits. Obi Mom.
Awesome.
Still great. Irie Man. Great.
Awesome.
I love you. Socially distanced die going crazy. No, you hang up, John.
Okay. Let's see. Gregory Jones sent us in a super chat saying, newborns exposed to a swirling COVID-19 farts at the local shopping malls. No PPE being used. I hope that's not specifically how it was. Let's see. Okay. Franklin Sharp Slicer says, is another poem. Says, slipped on a Freud makes us sigh. Think of a country and get a thigh. Now a tree is now a Jew. Oh, tell me what we're gonna do. Okay. Unfortunate there at the end. But you rhyme with what you can rhyme, I guess. Thank you for the super chat. Isabella Amelia Thompson says, hi, John. Hi, Brett. Happy Friday, boys. They're more interested, it seems, in immediate gain as opposed to being proactive about issues. We might need to physically throw them out of office. Well, I know some people, guests on the show, have pledged to do just that, so we have the beginning of an army. Alex Stevenson says, Dranoa, do we know what % of recipients are financially better off collecting the additional federally weekly UI benefits? Do we know what I think that's what they're alluding to in the study, the actual study that he's seen the work for. And I'm assuming that that's probably available if you want to look at it. Okay, Shelby Holton says, my friend Skatari introduced me to the show, and I'm so happy I'm here. Dragon Squad. Hello, Shelby.
Dragon Squad.
Welcome to the show.
Main show has to come up with a squad name, and then we'll probably be able to make like a total versus t-shirt design.
Yeah. It still won't happen because they don't want me to even be part of a shirt, but I like the idea of it.
It's because your shoulders just keep getting bigger and bigger, and you bust out of them. That's a lot of wasted merch.
Okay, I'll allow it now. Anyway, okay, with that, we have so many stories to get to. So we got a little bit more on Biden. Okay, a tale of two Bidens, sort of. Here's what we got. Okay, so Joe Biden. Who is he? You may think you know, because he's been in politics for 400 years, like Melisandre. But there's still a chance that the right can recraft the narrative of who he is, and they've gone in an interesting, although kind of predictable direction. So Trump is saying he's going to ban everything, guns, religion, he's going to triple your taxes. Kind of doubt that's going to happen. And now the right-wing media, including Fox News, are picking up on this line. So Laura Ingraham, this is a shot from yesterday that Jason Campbell posted on Twitter that has his socialist wish list to empty out the prisons, single-payer healthcare, government-paid childcare, the Green New Deal, guaranteed basic income, and of course, because it's Fox and she's a white supremacist, he's guaranteeing reparations as well. Who is Joseph Biden? Is doing those things? That doesn't seem right,
Prime
Brad.
Bill Joe. Prime Bill Joe is going to empty out the prisons. It's true. They are portraying him as both sleepy Joe Biden and like Castro at the same time, and Mao Zedong. Like that is what Joe Biden is, and they're just going to talk. And every time they talk, all I have to say is the economy is in shambles. And while everyone reasonable is trying to help, all the people on Fox News and in the White House, well, some of the people in the White House, as opposed to the ones that are leaking the true tale of chaos that's happening behind the scenes, everybody in the White House is trying to tell you to follow the following people. Not Dr. Fauci, but Donald Trump, who said we should look into putting disinfectant into your veins, who said that we should shine ultraviolet light into your veins. That is clawing about to try to shove hydroxychloroquine down your throat. And then says we really needed to give a voice to the demon semen doctor. Yeah. And then yesterday, Peter Navarro said the biggest and most important influence on how we make decisions in America is the guy who drew Dilbert cartoons. That's them. And this is us.
Yeah. Hopefully there's more of us when it comes to the election. But yeah, you're totally right. The demon, like what he just retweeted the demon semen one, and I'm sure he didn't think a second about it. But then even once it was revealed that she is in the running for craziest person in America, they didn't back off. Like there's no, like, even that sort of, that's not even accountability, but even that doesn't exist. And so look, we knew, how many times did we say to the election, doesn't matter who we nominate, they're going to be presented as Mao. And so socialist wish list. I look at that and I think, yes. The first reply to it that I saw was it was the Kylo Ren more gif, which, yeah. And Laura, like, as I know you watch the show, he is having trouble energizing younger voters, more progressive voters, for obvious reasons. We're not thrilled with his platform in a number of different ways. That's what we want. We want that. Convince us, please convince us that he will actually do that. That would be awesome. I kind of doubt it. Yeah, no, God, so you can't just make up stuff. Like, when Trump was going to be the nominee, I guess you can. When Trump was going to be the nominee, we talked about the quotes he said. Like, he wants to carpet bomb people. He wants to bring back waterboarding and stuff like that. We would respond to the things he said. We didn't just make up crazy stuff like he'd lie about the path of a hurricane, or he'd want to buy Greenland or something like that. All of that came true, but we didn't make it up at the time. Sell Puerto Rico. Like, we went to war with the army we've got, not the army we want. That's what we did. But they don't have to do that in right-wing media. Brett and I are two idiots on YouTube. That's on our business cards. And we hold ourselves to far higher standards of accountability than Laura Ingraham does. That's the thing, is it's almost too easy. All you have to do as a news organization is not journalism. That's it. That's all they discovered. Here's what's weird is you look at any of, like, the newspaper. The newspaper has it's one half of sitting like this. I guess it's one whole page like this of opinions. It's the editorials and it's the opposite editorials where they have people come in the op-eds. That is the opinion in the newspaper, that one thing. And then maybe they have columnists who write about sports. Yeah. Yeah. But on Fox News, their op-ed section is their bread and butter, and it exists on other networks as well. But what's very frustrating to me is that, like, as it became crystallized when Donald Trump said something on Fox and Friends, and they didn't push it back, and they just have been pushing it forward, actually, his lies about kids being immune to COVID-19. And then when he retweets that on Twitter and puts it on Facebook, that interaction from Fox News, a news channel, that gets taken down because it does violate Twitter and Facebook's terms of service. Yeah, exactly. And those terms of service are only there so they don't get sued. So for Facebook and Twitter having a higher level, a higher standard than a thing called Fox News Channel is insane. It's insane. Tucker Carlson going on and saying we still don't know how George Floyd died. Well, if he was alive before there was a knee on his back for 8 minutes and he was dead after that, I feel like I do know how he died. Could be related. Yeah, exactly. Jesus, ridiculous. Okay, let's roll right on through to an actual issue for Biden. Him, like passing a massive wealth tax. Probably not an actual thing he's going to do, but let's talk about actual things that he did. Joe Biden had one of his Bidenisms yesterday, and it had to do with the black community. We're going to show you the clip in just a second, and his apology, because he had to roll it back in the wake of attacks by Donald Trump for the things that he said. So let's go through to... Why am I not seeing it now? Did I? No, we got
D.
Is it? Yeah, why am I not seeing that?
It's not in there.
No, they totally... No, they prepped it. It's my mistake, as
John,
always.
Making the mistakes.
That's what I do.
If you want to know. All right, in the meantime...
No,
as
I
he's
got
doing
it.
this-
I got it. I just did that to demonstrate why we need to switch over to a remote director, and so that's probably going to happen.
More
Here's
like
Joe Biden.
Demonstrate.
know, but most people don't know. Unlike the African American community, with notable exceptions, the Latino community is an incredibly diverse community with incredibly different attitudes about different things.
No, don't do that. What?
Don't do that. That's the answer.
Don't
The answer is
do
don't
that.
do that.
Don't, man. Don't. I saw Ben Dixon tweeted in reply to the original video. He was like, someone who loves Joe Biden needs to take him, and they need to bring him down to the basement. And they need to put so many locks on that door that he can't come out until after the election.
Yeah, but
And
that's
I
where it's
get it.
broadcasting from, by the way.
No! Look, so we're gonna have his follow-up to that. It's not just that you didn't express your thought clearly, there's no good interpretation of that.
There is.
What?
The good interpretation is that, politically speaking, CNN, Fox News, Democratic analysts, they all think of the Latino voting bloc as one single bloc. And it is the dumbest thing you can... It's one of the dumbest things you can do. The only thing dumber is phrasing it the way that Joe Biden did. But that is a thing that is very real. And people as deep into the administration as Stephen Miller's wife is like, trying to say, I don't know why we need Little Havana. It's like, do you know who's in Little Havana? People who fled Castro.
Mm-hmm.
So you do need that, especially in Florida, because the Latino vote in Florida, more so probably 30 years ago and less so now, but still by a huge margin, votes in a way that is different than Californian immigrants of Latino heritage.
Yes.
But what you don't understand in that, especially to underscore what was stupid about Joe Biden's point, is within the Cuban immigrant community, there is racism of, Afro-Cubans versus like Spanish white Cubans.
Mm-hmm.
And so there are many needless things that he did. One of them is needlessly comparing the diversity of communities and saying that one of them just isn't. He did say, with certain notable exceptions, he is technically accurate that, as we are saying, sir, there are notable exceptions to the stupid thing you said.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, technically you could parse what he said in a way that makes more sense. However, your job as a politician, which you've had since you were, 29 years old?
Yeah.
Is to not say things that way. Is to maybe understand the fundamental differences, like black voters vote. There's like 9% vote Republican and 29% of Latino voters vote Republican or something like that. But within that are the exact diversity issues of like black Latinos that you're implying in your wording are not really notable exceptions.
I know. It just, okay. I don't know that I necessarily followed exactly, but you said if you can parse it in a way that's doesn't work in politics, as you noted. You can't expect that people are going to technically parse something because they're not. It's just, every community is incredibly diverse. Don't imply that any community isn't diverse. Even if people who check a box as black vote overwhelmingly in one direction, that doesn't mean that they all do so for the same reasons, at the same exact rates. When broken down by age, there could be a lot of difference. Certain issues can be emphasized more. It's just, there's a million types of diversity, and it's just such a, don't.
And he's right. And he's right that black people who are here due to slavery in America and its legacy don't get to say, I'm Cuban. They don't get to say, I'm Nigerian, I'm from Sierra Leone, I'm from all these different countries, because they don't know. That was robbed from so many Americans. They're literally like Washingtons and Jeffersons, and and I'm saying that with an apostrophe. Like they were not able to be considered human beings. And that is a tragedy that implies a shared experience that through, what is the American sin is still relevant today for a large portion of Black people. However, dude, that's not how, when, why you say that.
Just don't.
I just pulled my earphones out because I'm so disappointed. But it's Joe Biden, man. Joe Biden. I said this on the show on Main Show yesterday, where it's like he's the guy who said you can't go into, it jokingly, we're all friends here. You can't go, and I'm trying to appeal to South Asian people. You cannot go into a Dunkin' Donuts without a slight Indian accent. Like he thought we were all being buds here. And that's Joe Biden. And it takes people with, who grew up with white grandparents to be like, this is what they mean. They don't mean bad. You know what I mean?
I get, yeah. And he said, I think Cat Tower in the comments reminded us, remember I think it was, you ain't black if you don't vote for me? No, stop. Just,
yeah, that's it. It's
who do you want to hear talk about race less, Trump or Biden? For very different reasons, possibly, or at least variations on reasons. I don't want to hear either of them ever talk about it.
Yeah.
God, these debates.
But like, yeah, I mean, I heard the extended version. Did you hear the extended version of what he said on the NPR clip?
Feel free. I'm going to give his update in a second, but what's the extended
version? The extended version was specifically what I was referencing. He's like, there's a difference, there's a difference between, what we would classify as a Latino voter in Florida versus a Latino voter in Arizona. But as I also said on the show, like in the census, when people answer those questions on a census, it is itself confusing. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you said it too, like when you check a box as black, but then there's like, it has been traditionally divided as like Latino white, Latino not white, white, but it's all under white. It's very strange.
And you're combining some things that are sort of language dependent ancestries with some things that are social constructs that change over time with no wonder people get confused. So anyway, let's get a little bit of his. First the attacks. Donald Trump immediately launched into it because Donald Trump is not going to take someone saying something offensive about non-white Americans. Did you watch that clip? Joe Biden this morning, he totally disparaged and insulted the Black community. What he said is incredible. I don't know what's going on with him, but it was a very insulting statement he made. I guess you'll figure this out. You'll see it in a little while. It was a great insult to the Black community. And then he tweeted today, after yesterday's statement, Sleepy Joe Biden is no longer worthy of the Black vote. Wait, so you believe he was worthy before it? That doesn't make sense. Anyway, what Biden said in response to all of the criticism, which is very merited. Earlier today, I made some comments about diversity in the African-American and Latino communities that I want to clarify. In no way did I mean to suggest that that the African-American community is a monolith, not by identity, not on issues, not at all. Throughout my career, I've witnessed the diversity of thought, background, and sentiment within the African-American community. It's this diversity that makes our workplaces, communities, and country a better place. And he goes on to say, my commitment to you is this. I will always listen. I will never stop fighting for the African-American community, and I will never stop fighting for a more equitable future. So the real difference is, okay, his comments aren't as bad as Trump's, but you'll get follow-up comments that are good. That's the difference, I guess, is you'll still have the racial blunders and offensive statements and misunderstandings, but the follow-up will be PR approved rather than retweeting a QAnoner.
Right, exactly. Or a demon semen doctor. Like, come on. But and that's the thing is every time there's a statement like this, you get someone within Washington, too, saying, I've known Joe Biden for 50 years. He's a good guy.
Mm-hmm. Well, and in terms of, you talked about earlier about trying to convince them that he's not, like Rust Belt Joe or whatever. Some of this is baked in and it's going to be hard for them to move. So there was just a poll. Let's take a look at this. Question is, do you think each of the following is biased against Black people? So for Donald Trump, the yes is biased is 87% of the population. For Joe Biden, it's 17% of the population. That's among the black community. Among U.S. adults, it's 57% for Donald Trump because, of course, some white conservatives aren't going to agree to that, even though they know it, and in fact, they want it. And 31% of the population at large says that Joe Biden is. So big gaps there. And amongst black Americans, massive gaps. Not to say that it can't change and that even a couple points change might not matter, but that's going to be a little bit more difficult one when you have a politician that's been around for literally decades. That comes with a lot of bad baggage, but it also comes with sort of baked in opinions baggage. Some of it not negative.
Yep, with you.
Okay, we're about to launch into our last segment, which means several of these long production-heavy segments are going to be pushed to Monday.
Yay! Bye. Brett didn't want to read it anyway.
You didn't. It was going to be so much reading. I put together all this interesting research, and now nobody sees it.
I want to thank Ikdar for gifting 6 subs, but they got lost in a thick pile of love for my wife.
That's awesome. Okay, so... main show could be the Green... Galfar says the main show could be the Green Knights. Interesting. Like green, like environmental. Pinkerbell Pixie says Demon Seaman gave me the 5G Corona. Exactly. That's our trivia name the next time we go back.
I don't want to... Sorry. I don't know how this is disgusting. I'm not going to say it.
Yeah. Captain Cornball on Twitch says, there's a difference to be shown here as well. At least Biden has the self-awareness to walk back his dodgy comments rather than double down when he's obviously wrong. Yes. Yes. Now, there were a few comments referencing a tweet that I had sent out earlier today. Galfar says, okay, I have a bone to pick with John. How can he say The Last Jedi is possibly the best Star Wars movie? It doesn't even make the top 10. There's not that many more than 10.
Solo is dope. Get out of here.
Okay, I think it's top 3, maybe number 1. And so its highs for me are higher than the highs of any other Star Wars. On total, who knows? But I think it's very good. And I say this as a person who deeply loves Star Wars and has my entire life. I played so many of the video games, TIE Fighter back in the day. I've read a bunch of the expanded... I played Rebel Assault way back. I think it was N64, was it?
No, I had it on PC.
I don't remember.
Oh, God.
But yeah, I read a bunch of the expanded universe books. Like the card games. You don't have to tell me about Star Wars. I love Star Wars. I think Last Jedi is great. So that's all I can say.
I didn't like that tone. It was oddly sexual.
I love Star Wars. That's my relationship with it. And Bart, who loves movies more than anyone loves anything, put in the chat, Empire Strikes Back #1, Last Jedi #2.
Ooh, wow, that's moves. Bart made some moves.
I want to hug him. I'm perfectly happy with that. Bart's
a good hugger. Bart's a real good hugger.
He is.
I'm not even gonna lie about it.
He is, and he sort of agrees with me on a movie. Anyway, I didn't expect that.
Watch Bart's episode of Happy Half Hour last week for those of you.
Definitely should. Savitas Vox sent us in a super chat saying, we must make an example of any politician that aspires to be king. When you make the Dragon Squad t-shirts, make tall sizes. I've wanted a 2i t-shirt for years now.
The reason that they said the Green Knights, the reason it's Knights is dragons versus knights. That's my read on it.
Okay. Okay, I'll be reading more to close out the show, but we are already past the hour, so it's probably important that we jump into our last segment. Brett, would you like the continuing honors of going first as soon as I get to the graphic?
Sure.
You don't have any graphics, do you?
I have one graphic, no.
Damn you. Where is it?
They're not a graphic?
I don't see the graphic. Maybe I need
to...
Okay, hold on. Everybody. My preparation is also garbage. No.
Uh-oh. Good job, everybody.
Do you need it?
Is there one?
A mistake I made, but...
No, I'll find it. Nope. You go.
Okay. But you do have video. So why don't we get ready? You gonna be ready?
I'll
go first. Okay. I'll get ready for that then. Okay. Let's do this thing. Okay. It's the end of the week, and so it's time to take out the trash. I love to watch him walk away with the can. Anyway, so Brett and I both have garbage people chosen. Mine was actually fairly easy this week, although I would not expect that anyone would have been able to predict it. It is the North Paulding High School, or at least
So good.
its leadership, not
This is
the
a great
building or the people, but the people in charge. So I'm going to put them on here. And by the way, I accidentally printed on very high quality parchment paper. So anyway, they're going to be very high quality trash. You know why? We need to go back a few days to find out why. And it starts with Hannah Waters, a 15-year-old who cares about the world and is going to fight to make it better. So she tweeted, "Day 2 at North Paulding High School is just as bad. We were stopped because it was jammed. We were close enough to the point where I got pushed multiple times to go to second block. This is not okay, not to mention the 10% mask rate." And it's a photo of absolutely packed hallways, which is not in any way safe. Those kids are being exposed potentially to coronavirus. Multiple schools have already had outbreaks. And she continued to document this, including, and I love this, breaking down the percent compliance with mask rules in each of her blocks on multiple days, which is absolutely awesome. This is what we want, is, someone like Hannah who is going to know what's going on in the world and care about it and document what's wrong, make it public to try to make a change. And there was a change as a result of Hannah's work. In an interview with BuzzFeed News, she said that she was suspended after the photo was shared by Twitter accounts with large followings and went viral. She says, "I used my phone in the hallway without permission, used my phone for social media, and posting pictures of minors without consent. That was the reason she was told for her suspension," which I guess is technically true, but I think we get the real reason is it makes the leadership of North Paulding look really bad, and they don't like that. So they suspended her. So now they did, after this became a big blow up story, reverse the suspension. But we know what they were thinking and why they did it, and that's why they're in the can.
Yes, absolutely. This is the kind of stuff where this is all incentivized. This kind of behavior is incentivized by Donald Trump, because everything he's doing is trying to, at the same time as he is levying these sanctions against Carrie Lam in Hong Kong for doing what the Chinese government wants and taking away people's freedoms and suppressing information and people's ability to express themselves. That is exactly what this Georgia high school is doing at the not even quite, a little more than implied behest of the President of the United States.
Yeah.
Removing the ability of reporting things from the CDC, calling everyone who says stuff that is based in fact fake news, all the way down to his own top epidemiologist. This is that. This is leadership in action. Mm-hmm. And yes, people are always going to want to cover up their mistakes and things that make them embarrassed. But to this extent, when people's lives are at stake, usually that just happens at schools and it's just molesting kids, right?
Yeah.
They cover it up. You know what I mean? That's terrible too. But this is kids are going to die. That's where I would put it in the category with something embarrassing happened at your school, and you just let's do what we can to punish the kid for doing something they absolutely should do, which should be fundamentally what we're teaching kids to do in school anyway.
Exactly. Yeah, you got to imagine that meeting where they're like, "Oh my God, we're getting reamed online. This is a PR disaster. What should we do?" Well, we could strike back and make a martyr of her. I guess we could do that. Good call. And this is where people go to learn. So I want to show you one more thing, just because in addition to the photos and the documentation, we also have some video that was made available. And so I'm going to show you that. It's great work here. Okay. Look at that. Imagine walking around this. Now, a good number of the students are wearing masks, but tons aren't. And they are very, very close packed together. And think about traveling down that hallway, how scared you would be that you're going to get a virus that might not kill you, maybe, but you might spread it to someone else. You might. And I want to read. Things. No, continue.
I just when I was a kid, I was afraid. I went home from school once. I was on second lunch, so we could leave. But I left and drove home because I was convinced through some weird neurotic paranoia that the earth decided it was going to hurl toward the sun. I was freaked out about an irrational fear. I'm also terrified that I would die from a meteorite and the Yellowstone supervolcano. These are very unreal fears that drove me into real panics when I was in high school.
Yeah.
The idea that I'm being forced to go to school amid a pandemic that is killing people and could result in the deaths of my not so elderly family members, not alone myself. I cannot imagine the kind, not to mention also kids also having to be afraid that a school shooter is going to come and show up.
Yeah.
How difficult it must be for kids right now. I can't even imagine.
Yeah, I can't. And so she and all of them are dealing with that fear. She is dealing with the fact that she was suspended because of this. And I saw someone mention in the comments, it's a great point, like all of those kids that aren't wearing masks, do you think they want to wear masks? How do you think they will respond to one of their fellow students pointing out how irresponsible all this is and putting pressure on them to wear masks? She's going to face social strike back from her peers at school, but she still did it. And the reason that she gave for why she did it, I absolutely love. She said, "My mom has always told me that she won't get mad at us if we get in trouble, as long as it's good trouble," citing John Lewis. Like, that kills me. We have the can for bad people. We've been talking for a long time about having something for the good people. I guess I can honorarily induct her to Dragon Squad. That's about all I can offer at this point. But Hannah Waters, like, no, we need a million. We need 10 million Hannah Waters, people who actually care, who have social responsibility, and will suffer for it to try to push the country in the right direction. Great work there, but not for North Paulding's, principal. You're trash.
Yes, very much.
Okay, Brett.
All right. My garbage person is the people who put together a fundraiser for the U.S. Navy SEALs at a Navy museum. They wanted to demonstrate the effectiveness of their attack dogs, and to do so, they decided they would put a Colin Kaepernick jersey on one of the demonstrators. Under that, he had some protective gear, and they just decided to sick the dogs on him. Here is the image they decided to put forth at this fundraiser. Take a look.
Here comes Raven. Raven is the museum mascot. All right, Josh, he's going to probably get another dog. Here we go. Here comes Callie. Callie's the oldest dog in the field, 9 years old. Josh's going to pick another one. Maybe, maybe not. Here we go. Here comes Storm, young buck on the field. All right. Here we go. Can Josh take more? Here comes Oplon. Smash some. I've seen Josh with 12 dogs at one time.
Good job, guys. I mean, I can't.
Who's the group again?
It is a Navy SEAL museum event where they had essentially this group come to do a demonstration.
Yeah.
And it seems like they're Navy SEALs involved. They're Navy SEALs there. This is in a demonstration. A target is seen wearing this is their statement from the Navy SEALs. We became aware today of this whole thing. Posted from a Navy SEAL museum event posted last year with a military working dog demonstration. The target's wearing a Colin Kaepernick jersey. The inherent message of this video is completely inconsistent. We're investigating the matter fully. In initial investigations are that there were no active duty Navy personnel or equipment involved in this independent organization's event. But, and we have another video I want to show just to show you the crowd's reaction. It's about 30 seconds.
Get it! Woo! Ah!
Why are they dressed like that if they're not actual?
Whoa!
On your belly.
Oh my God.
On your belly.
Oh man, I was kidding. I'm a real good guy.
No, you're not.
I'm not that mean.
Watch
Why are you
it.
sure about that?
And so there's that. In that category, which we need a term for, of things I can't believe I have to say, Colin Kaepernick is not protesting the troops. In fact, the idea to kneel was given to him by a Navy SEAL by a Army Green Beret after a conversation about how not to be disrespectful of the troops and the banner. that was the compromise that they came to after a dialogue. But a dialogue is not something anyone at this event is interested in. They're laughing. They decide. I mean, it's weird enough to show these dogs at work. And I have been in close contact with an attack dog used by the military, and it is horrifying.
Yeah.
Like the guy said to me, the guy that handled the dog said, "We need to end this demonstration now because he hasn't killed anything yet, and it's been a while." Like,
oh, I remember that. Yeah.
It is a very intense thing to see, and they're just they are having very explicitly this dog attack, essentially Colin Kaepernick, someone who is trying to be patriotic and hold America to the promises it itself has made.
Yeah.
And the way they respond to that is, let's attack him with many dogs, and that's just not okay. So they are total garbage, as is it seems there's no active duty military people involved. Come on, they're wearing fatigues. It is at your place.
They have guns.
How could you allow? They have guns. How could you allow this to happen?
Exactly.
That's not okay.
It's absolute garbage. I mean, and I guess if you're in the audience, maybe there's nothing you could do, but like you're okay with that?
Yeah. Say something.
And the people, when was this? Was in the last week or something?
This was posted in the last week of an event last year.
Okay, good. So last year. Yeah, so the people who were doing this last year, if they were holding this event in the 60s or, earlier, what would they have been doing then? Like, they'll do what they think they can get away with because they hate these people and they want to, figuratively kill them. And this is what they think they can get away with. But we know it's the same motivation. Man, garbage, utter garbage.
Yep. Okay. And now can you go to graphic E9? Graphic E as in Edward. Normally this block is the E block.
It is normally, yes. So
that's what happened.
Okay, here we go.
All right, everybody, you need to go vote for which movie you want to watch with John and his wife this Saturday for movie night. tyt.com/polls/watch party to see if you want to watch The Circle, which is Social Network Gone Wild with Hanks and Hermione. Casino Royale, Secret Agent, public viewing. Cable Guy, I'm on Steven's team. Or Knives Out, Murder Mystery with Ana de Armas and Captain de America.
It's quite good. All of those are winners. I can't wait to see who's going to end up being chosen. I'm on the edge of my seat.
tyt.com/polls/watch party. And then movie night is the movie night watch party on the I realize you have to do that other poll. Is on twitch.tv/tyt this weekend. Exactly. John will keep you up to date on when.
I will, and it'll be a lot of fun. And so that's my garbage person, Brett's garbage person. But what about you, the TDR community? Who do you think was the biggest piece of garbage this week? Well, we put the poll on the community tab, as we always do, and here's how the vote came out. With 8.6 thousand votes, Donald Trump wins with 55% of the vote for everything he said in that Axios interview. Coming in at second at 18% is Mitch McConnell for fighting for corporations over people. Betsy DeVos gets 15% of the vote and a third for not protecting students and teachers. And the Aurora Police Department for terrorizing citizens in that viral video comes up with 12% of the vote. Thank you to everyone who took part. They're all garbage, but Trump, he gets to be put at the top of the can this week. Anyway, Brett, thank you as always. I know that people are going to be able to see you on Happy Half Hour later today, and Craig as well. Should be a lot of fun.
And Common Room tonight at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, and then John, you guys can watch John and watch a movie with him on Saturday at 5 p.m. Pacific.
Awesome.
8 p.m. Eastern time. You're gonna love it. I'm gonna watch. I've only read The Circle.
Yeah, I haven't either. I haven't done either.
That's a flex.
If it's that, but yeah, that's funny. Anyway, thank you as always, Brett. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
And for everyone at home, let me read just a few more super chats before we move on. I know that we were way over, and I just told one of my producers yesterday that we never hit the 30 minutes over mark, and I'm not about to now because she will mock me for it. So. Bart has a question. I seriously have to question Craig picking Return of the Jedi as #1, but I have to give him credit for my newfound appreciation for Ewoks. They're not cuddly Muppets. They're vicious little buggers you don't want to mess with. Credit goes to Craig. Yeah, growing up, Return of the Jedi was my favorite because the stuff on Tatooine and then the stuff on Endor I thought was really sweet. Okay, let's see. Raleigh Jones sent us a super chat saying Last Jedi was hated because it didn't predictably follow the pattern of the first 3. That's why I loved it. Empire, Jedi, #4, Metal Bikini. Yes, I love that it was different, and yet it was different structurally in a lot of ways, but it had some of the best sequences. That first sequence with the bombing run is one of the best ever parts of Star Wars. Great lightsaber fight at the end. The attack on the base at the end was absolutely amazing. God, it's so good. I'm going to watch it again. Rob Shively, on the other hand, says, back on this Last Jedi nonsense, unsubscribe. See ya. No, I assume that's a joke. David, thank you for your super chat. Atherian says, Joe Biden is blind. The Oompa Loompa can't speak. I weep for this land. Nice. Okay. Captain Crunch says, notice how Biden gets confrontational when challenged by a reporter or an undecided voter. What's up with that? Yeah, that's been an issue since the very beginning. The volume is down. It has to be when people are dropping out of Skype. Something must be messed up in the Skype settings because Skype continually updates and throws things into chaos. So I will try to mess with that at some point. I don't think there's anything I can do for now. We'll see. Anyway, assuming you can hear me at all, thank you everybody who's been watching throughout the week, who's been participating, donating at tyt.com/go, sending in super chats and all that. We really do appreciate that. We got lots of great Twitch content coming up both today and tomorrow when my wife will be joining me for our movie watch. So definitely stay tuned for that as well. Thank you, everybody. I'll see you soon. Stay safe out there.